And I also want to focus on welfare and wealth tax. Where to even begin? Well, of course, we covered at length, didn't we, the absolute debacle. It was, no offence, Keir Starmer, if you're watching, pretty pathetic, actually, all of the goings-on with welfare, looking at whether or not things like PIP were going to be targeted, how they were going to be targeted. We've all followed all of that. Essentially, so much of it ended up just getting dropped. Well, apparently now there's concerns that children with special educational needs could be coming into the line of fire, with the Labour Party desperately trying to balance the books. This, Barry Gardner, you know, Labour Party were asked at the weekend about these EHCPs. Basically, when a child's got additional needs, they have a legal requirement to get support, specialist support within their educational settings. Are these things going to be scrapped?
No, look, let's understand what the experience of parents is. I've got so many parents who are trying to get the correct support for their children, and the current system is failing desperately. We want to back families. We want to make sure that kids have that early support, which means that later on, which is usually when these things manifest themselves and parents are coming saying, look, you failed my child. That's why we've already put £1 billion more into SEND provision, that special educational needs provision, and why we've actually put 740 million, so effectively £750 million to local authorities, and that's money which is creating new specialist places. So this is not about saving money. Otherwise, we wouldn't be putting £1.75 billion in there. It's about supporting families at the right time, which is right at the start, preschool, nursery, making sure that actually the problems that do happen and develop now aren't going to happen in the future. That's where eventually there may well be a saving, because we won't need that provision. And that's what every parent wants. They want to know that their child is not going to end up needing that provision.
Well, apparently, just in England alone, ladies and gents, there's 640,000 children with these certificates. Many of you as well, you'll be having children. You'll be trying to get one of these certifications and you'll be struggling. And that number, of course, is just in England. So the true reflection, of course, will be much greater. Zia Yusuf, your thoughts?
Well, the numbers that Barry was just talking about there, $1 billion, $750 million, they pale in comparison to the infinite money tree that the government appears to have for foreign citizens. And this is the problem. It's really difficult to have a serious conversation about, you know, should there be reform around the way SEND children receive the support they need, when that £1 billion and £750 million we talked about, Barry, what about the £5.5 to £7 billion a year being spent on asylum hotels alone for foreign citizens? We're talking about withdrawing benefits for British people, for British SEND children, specifically here. And in the name of saving money, when there is infinite money, I keep going back to the same point over and over, but it's inescapable. It is inescapable. We have not just the £5.5 to £7 billion on asylum hotels, we have the £15 billion a year on foreign aid, the £12 billion on net zero. British people throughout history have had no issue with, you know, making sacrifices for the greater good. And they would be more than happy to consider arguments about the manner and the cost of delivering welfare for British people, if it were not for the fact that there is a disgraceful double standard that goes on, where the border is being left totally open. We have, again, seemingly infinite money for foreign citizens whose first act upon coming to this country is to break our laws, and then they go into free accommodation, they get free healthcare. They get free trips to the circus and to the safari parks and to skate parks. And I mean, you laugh, Barry, but these are facts.
Okay,
and people watching this program, people watching this program, jaws will be on the floor when they hear about the fact that the British government under Labour now want to withdraw benefits from British people, yet they have infinite money for foreign citizens.
Let's establish the facts. Okay, this is not about withdrawing money. As I said, the £1.75 billion is not the total sum that is being spent on SEND. It's actually the additional money that this government has already put in. So you're not comparing like with like there. But look, I'm pleased if what I'm hearing because you haven't criticised this extra provision. You haven't criticised the fact that we are trying to start this early, doing it before kids even get to school with these new Best Start hubs. And, you know, one of the great things that the previous Labour government did was Sure Start. And it got children ready, it prepared them for life, and it also helped parents to do that. And that's what these Best Start hubs are going to do. And now we're in a different generation. We've got AI. We're able to connect parents up through those hubs digitally as well to make sure that all that support is in place. And I would simply say to you, look, don't you think that's the right thing to do, Zia? That here we can support families, support them to make sure that their children don't develop those educational needs, that they're ready for school, ready to start on day one when they go into that primary classroom.
No, I wouldn't, because the auspice upon which all of this is being done, Barry, number one, is being done through the auspice of looking to find savings.
No, it's not.
Because there are enormous amounts of money. Well, they absolutely are, because it's Barry. You've got to be honest here. This is all part of a big attempt from this Labour government, led by Keir Starmer and Rachel Reeves, to reduce the amount of money, or specifically, actually, reduce the growth rate in welfare spending in this country, which both have basically said is out of control. Now, clearly, Keir Starmer is losing that argument, as we've seen, which is why we saw, somewhat tragically, the Chancellor of Exchequer of the United Kingdom in tears on the front bench. Clearly, there's turmoil inside the party, but this is my point. So long as British people are being betrayed writ large by this Labour government, there can't be any serious discussion about welfare reform, because everyone in this country is going to turn around and go, well, how come you want to take support away from my child who has a special educational need, when there seems to be infinite money for people, largely young men, coming across the English Channel illegally, Barry?
As I said, it's not taking away support. It's providing £1.75 billion extra for these children. Not only that, it's putting those hubs in place for families. And above all, if it were simply, I mean, you've actually said that the welfare spending is too high. So, you know, you're arguing against your own position. And what was it Nigel Farage said about diagnosing children with additional needs? He said it's creating a class of victims, and a party spokesman blamed naughty children and bad parenting. That complete, you know, parents watching this, understanding that your party has said that their child's special educational needs are a result of bad parenting and naughty children, they'll think, you just don't know what ordinary people's lives are like. They are struggling with these needs for their children. They're struggling to get the support. What this government is doing is providing it. OK, so just to be clear, Barry, you're claiming that as a result of these policies, more money will be spent on welfare for SEND children, not less. Is that what you're saying? No.
OK, well, that's what you just said. So you are reducing spending.
It's not what I just said. And let me cash it out for you if you were confused about it in any way, Zia.
I am often confused, Barry, so please do.
What I've said is that if you spend money on prevention, if you get children early, if you make sure that that support is in place right from the beginning, then the problems that at the moment are manifesting themselves as a result of a failure.
Sorry, I'm still not hearing an answer to my question.
This is the answer to your question. Is
spending up or down?
This is the answer to your question. Then ultimately, at the end of the day, you're not going to get those same problems that you need to spend billions on at the end of the day. But it's getting it right, it's supporting families, it's supporting children. And this is not about some Johnny-come-lately scheme. If you look at our manifesto, if you look at what Bridget Phillipson set out there about supporting families, about best practice hubs, about the sort of Sure Start Mark II, that's been there right from the beginning. So it's absolutely a commitment that we made to elect the electorate. It's a commitment that we were elected upon, and now we're delivering.
Do you think people were voted you in to cut welfare spending? Do you really think that's what people voted Labour for? And I want to answer this is my fundamental question, Barry, because you haven't answered it.
Do you think that they're voting for reform to cut welfare spending? Because that's what you've claimed.
Barry, what I'm saying is this. The whole auspice upon which this has been generated and is now being discussed and put forward is on the basis that welfare spending for British people needs to be cut. And it's still unclear. Are you saying that the net cost of the Exchequer will be up or down?
Will it be up or down as a result of this? You are absolutely wrong. wrong. That
One
is
word,
not
up
the
or down,
premise.
Barry?
That is not the premise, okay? That's not
Okay,
the
but
reason.
you're not answering the question.
I
We
am
both know
answering
it's
the
gonna go
question.
down.
You just don't like the answer, Zia. The answer is that ultimately it will cost, the whole system will cost less because we're putting more money in the beginning in prevention.
So you're reducing spending.
And ultimately it will therefore cost less.
So you're reducing
But that's
spending
not-
while spending
but
on foreign
that
citizens
is- but that is not
continues
the
to
purpose
spiral
of it.
out of control,
The purpose
Barry,
of it
and that's
is
the
to solve
fundamental problem.
The problem.
Okay,
And that's what you don't like, Zia.
No, Barry,
Wow.
thank you for answering the question. So you're saying spending will come down for British SEND children, and while that's happening, we have an endless, on a daily basis, hundreds of people, foreign, unvetted people coming across the channel illegally. We have billions to spend on foreign aid, or tens of billions of pounds to spend on the crazy, mad net zero and climate capture projects, but we apparently there's no money left for British people.
Look, are you a parent of a child that's got special educational needs? Because if you are, I would really love to hear from you tonight to understand how you're feeling. Because when you've got a child with additional needs, it is not a walk in the park. And you will know that you fight each and every single step of the way. It is very, very traumatic. And if you've managed to get a little bit of support and you've managed to breathe a bit of a sigh of relief, having these conversations and hearing these conversations will put the fear of dread into you, because you'll be worried perhaps about what is potentially going to come your way. How do you feel tonight? Do you have faith that actually nothing will be cut and this is just perhaps a different ordering of systems, or not?